Recording in progress. Oh wait, are we supposed to banter first and then then we throw it to you and then we are we inserting an intro or are we just gonna go womp bom 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 bom
Well, there's no way for me to put the intro in, so
womp bom 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 bom? That work?
Hey, people like that song. Don't make fun of it.
I think it's good. I'm pretty big fan of it. I don't know where you found that thing, but I like it.
anyways, well, welcome to Ugly Thirds. We have a news story today. The WPHL has new logos and names, actually. So, gentlemen, take it away.
Western Pennsylvania Hockey League? No, Phil, the Professional Women's Hockey League.
Bucks
It
County's
used to be
finest.
NWHL. Rest in peace. So I'm John. He's Shrems. Phil, thank you for the intro. The PWHL has run for a year with no logos or team names, just
But
generic
what I like
jerseys.
about it is that it didn't deter fans from enjoying the league because those games were banging.
How about that too?
Yeah.
I am really impressed at how well they managed to make that work.
Yeah, and it came off of when we had teams folding and we were merging teams with other teams and it turned into a mess of an off season and they took off and you saw arenas that were selling out. Like it's they've got the momentum and now they have an identity for better or for worse. They
Yeah,
have an
I don't
identity.
know what the difference was in the front office and the gate, in the arena experience between NWHL and PHF turned PH. Like, however, things made a jump last season, a significant jump, and the fans reacted, and the fans were there, and it was outstanding to see. Look, I've been a big fan of women's hockey for a long time. I announced at Mercyhurst women's hockey for a long time. It was actually my some of my favorite games to call. Had a Frozen Four there in Erie.
Nice.
Women's hockey doesn't get the press it ought to usually, and to finally have it. And as far as like the watching a women's hockey game is not that different from any other hockey game. So I don't know why this has taken so long, to be honest.
It's one of those things where you're starting to see a little bit of that equity when it comes to women's sports, and you're starting to recognize players and they're getting the treatment that the men get, and it's honestly well deserved and way past due. But um, we have an identity for the PWHL, and it's based on where we were yesterday at this time with the rumors of what was happening and the team names, we're doing just fine.
So on that, it's the perfect. I just had to look this up for someone else. I talked about this with a couple of people from work. The PWHL applied for trademarks for six names last year: the Torch, Echo, Wicked, Alert, Superior, and Sound. And there was plenty of backlash, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the Boston Wicked being kind of fun, I mean, just why?
Yeah, the picture that you shared with a screenshot of somebody saying like Chat GPT could have done a whole lot better than this, and they're probably right. Um, but what I like is that they trademarked those names and then went in a complete different direction.
They learned. They saw the backlash and they learned. They pivoted. And because it took them a year to announce any of the identities, they pulled a Utah before it was Utah. Uh, they were able to make sure they got a much better product. I don't know if it's all amazing, but a better product, and
Yeah.
I think it worked out.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of those things where how does this translate to a jersey? There's two I'm particularly excited to see on a sweater, and it's gonna go against my collection, but I wouldn't mind snagging one of them if it hits the fabric the right way.
Right. So we don't have jerseys yet. We only have names and logos, but it's a start. And logos beget jerseys. Like I feel like this was news we had to cover. So Phil, if you could switch to the overall, this was what was first launched, and they had a thing on all the different names. And I'll have to grab that. I'll let Trems talk for a second here, but all in all, it's not a bad looking slate. there.
No. Can we get that full screen? Is that an option?
Oh God.
I have the explanation of the names. I'm gonna grab that. Phil, you try that.
Oh God, that could be bad.
Or
It could be
share the
good
slogan
too.
back.
Um,
We have a when you're trying to manage a professional sports brand identity. We talked about this recently in one of the filmings that we did. You have an obligation to the city in which you are playing for. It's not just a blanket team like Cougars or Lions or Pirates or anything. You have to lean into that city's identity. You have to play to its strength. And what you have here is 6 decent attempts at that without being too generic or without being too corny. And to what you were saying, John, the Boston Wicked, like I get it, but if we're talking professional sports, like that I'm glad they got away from that idea.
Well, I guess should we press on to the names and logos then? If I don't know if Phil got it full screen or not, I stepped away.
without making major audio issues, which
I say the only other way I could think to do it is if you said it so like whoever's speaking is full screen and then like tap on that mic. But yeah, you're right. That
but then echoing. So yeah, so here's the first one.
the Boston Fleet.
My favorite. It's 100% my favorite.
The name isn't I wonder if the Fleet Center had something to do with it, which is the name before TD Garden. It says it pays homage to Boston's collective spirit and rich maritime history, represents the city's unified strength and resilience. Letter B with a deep green color with an anchor.
Great logo.
I don't honestly. I saw like a trident. You're right. It's an anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like it better now. Because like my initial thought was immediately like it's hard for Whalers vibes. Between the green,
you turn your head a little bit and you see it for
like
sure.
the Binghamton Whalers. Am I doing this the right way? I don't know.
Yeah, now you're good.
Okay, the Binghamton Whalers had it was just turned sideways and it worked. Like you didn't get the hidden H in the middle. It's also leaning forward for momentum, sporting legacy, and team advancement. Which okay, you're getting into some sport talk of like, oh, identity means so much. But yeah, no, I think this is a spectacular logo. And now that I see it's an anchor, even better, like brilliant,
Yep.
like legit brilliant. This is like the Minnesota Wild, amazing logo, mediocre name, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you're gonna be able to play into a little bit with the green with the Celtics. You're kind of, I mean, there is no green elsewhere, but at least you're kind of you're leaning into a little bit of the sports fandom of the town already. So, but again, how is this going to translate to a jersey remains to be seen. But they're off to a good start.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's if whenever you talk about like, oh, what if we unified team looks, like what if we unified team colors like Pittsburgh does or Seattle came close to doing, etc. Good luck doing that with Boston. Like all 4 teams are iconic. All 4 teams have an incredible history to them. There is no way you can. And you're right. I didn't even think about the Celtics, but that is a great tie-in because you don't want you don't want black and gold because we've already had that.
And you have to figure, like, now that you mention what you just did, you have 4 distinctly different color combinations for your 4 major sports in Boston. um, you, outside of using purple, like you're not going to you're going to find some crossover in some way, shape, or form. So green is underutilized in sports and sports logos and color schemes. So I'm glad they
I
went
think
with
they,
it.
I should have looked what the generic jerseys. They might have been green already, so that's part of it. So, but look, like this is top tier. This is my number one in this list. We probably should have tried to rank it, but yeah, whatever. We're in news. Phil, can
Well,
you switch?
luckily we both agree on the number one, so we can end the show.
Yep, done and done. Up next, the Minnesota Frost.
I like it. I don't think it's terrible. What does that F remind me of? What brand is it? Fox Racing?
Gatorade.
Yeah,
Oh wow,
yeah, it's very
yeah.
Gatorade.
Well, you're walking right into your sponsorship at that point.
So I realized in the printouts I made that it cut off the frost, so I wanted to look it up for this. It embodies the state of hockey's deep-rooted love for the ice and the sport that had become timeless tradition, bridging generations. Stylized letter F with angular edges and sharp points, reminiscent of icicles. Sense of competitive intensity and fear. Look, this it's a middling logo. It's a middling logo and a middling name. It's not awful. It's very befit like a junior team. Well, we had the Frederick Freeze near us that we had to call games against. So it was like that's fine for that level of junior,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it doesn't do anything.
There's a unifying sense of purple with the Vikings. There's a little bit, I believe, in the Twins logo. Nothing in the Wild, unfortunately, but you want to kind of separate yourself from the NHL team, I guess.
Yeah.
What is that, Fox Racing or Fox something
That I
logo?
think.
Am I crazy here? Like,
I look that I just don't know. I don't know that to tell you. If you have your phone handy, feel free. But like it's too generic. It's super generic, and that kind of disappoints me, especially when. So I was going to save this kind of for the end and the overall. That I wish there were more names to amazing women's groups in history. Like initially, the Night Witches, the women snipers of World War II, or there's other ones with the war and like the women doing all the way, or like the Riveters. Like what a great name of just celebrating women being amazing, and you got the Valkyries right there. Like think of the history of Minnesota. It's how much of it is Scandinavian. The Valkyries were the female deities who would take the warriors off to Valhalla and were as respected as any other gods.
sure.
Like what a swing and a miss on that, in my opinion. That would have been an amazing, like women being amazing. Here's an amazing women's group with a connection to local culture ish. This is a swing and a miss, and
This
probably most disappointing.
This was a very safe play. Like they could have gone off the wall with it. They could have went deep rooted history of Minnesota or what have you. But this was it's fine. It's a safe play.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there. It exists.
Next, Montreal Victoire, which I guarantee my French is terrible.
Victoire.
Victoire embodies Montreal's joyously competitive spirit, acting as inspiration for the city to climb to even greater sporting heights. Win or lose, Victoire is a mindset celebrating the city's pursuit of achievement.
That sounds like a Chat GPT write up.
The logo features wing-like shapes and the team's signature deep burgundy color, subtly alluding to the goddess of victory and symbolizing strength and agility. Hidden M in the wings pays homage to Montreal and, of course, a fleur-de-lis. It's French.
Yeah.
This is a French logo being French.
Yeah.
Look, you figure the Montreal Canadiens are as generic as it gets in sports, and it's just because it's been around for over 100 years, no one questions. So
it plays to this city in the hockey history in that city. This one's the one that I'm most curious about when it comes to how it's going to translate to a jersey. because you could easily just take that home plate logo and plaster it on there, or you could have a lot of fun with it. But I'm most curious about this one and the potential for striping and shoulders and everything like that. I don't care. It's fine. It's fine.
It's another one. It's fine. I think it's better than the Frost. At least it's something different. You're thinking of maybe having
Something like that. Yes.
You know, a little Bjornis IF. Yeah, no, I mean, look, it could be interesting. You're right. It looks more like a shoulder patch than a solid logo. Would it be fine here? I mean, look, the LA Kings have managed to do better with worse. So,
yeah.
Yeah, there are interesting things they could do. I imagine it's going to be a very safe play this year.
Yeah, but I like the idea of like a cream home jersey and then whatever that red is, or sorry, whatever burnt
Deep burgundy.
Deep burgundy, deep raw burgundy that it has there.
It's only burgundy if it's from the Burgundy region of France. Otherwise, it's just sparkling dark red.
That's very funny. And I wish I hope our audience realizes it. And they've made it this far in the video to where they can appreciate that joke. Deep burgundy for home.
It's French. It's very French. Yeah. It's French.
When we go to Montreal, you're gonna see, like, when I was up there for the draft, I think I've told you this story before, but maybe I haven't. Like, when I walked into the hotel, you know, she said, "Yeah, bonjour," and I'm like, "Bonjour, hello. I'm here to check in." And like when I switched from French salutation to like English talking, like the woman behind the desk, her demeanor just like changed completely. Like she wasn't.
No, like
Yeah. So I get it. Lean into the city. Lean into that heritage.
Yeah. Again, I wanted something more in depth with the city or women's history or anything. You're telling me you can't find anything better when. I mean, look, okay, is Joan of Arc proper French culture, and how different does Quebec feel that they are from that? I don't know. I am not the person to comment on that, but I feel like there should have been something more specific.
It's fair. They wanted their own country, so you gotta dig something out of there, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. It's French. It's fine.
It's fine.
Who's next? New York Sirens. Sirens is an ode to New York City's one-of-a-kind energy, pace, and rhythm, embodying the city's sound and people. Sirens also speaks the sweet sound of the goal horn after the puck goes into the net. The reverberating S visually mimics sound waves. Angular and wide pays homage to New York's iconic architecture. They don't actually mention the women at sea trying to beg ships to their death. Which
that's where I went at first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know they're definitely playing on both ends just based on the logo looks like a sound wave. They're right. They nailed that. If they wanted that, they nailed that. But they don't even mention the sea people, mermaids.
Mermaids-ish, we'll call it. It looks to me like it's, if I were to go get my car like customized with like speakers, like if I were to pimp my ride in 2024, like I would go to this store because the logo is that cool. I don't think it translates, and this is probably the worst name of them all. Like,
I fully did now. While the logo looks like a chop shop in Grand Theft Auto, but it's a good design. I think it's very diamond shaped, like it's a very well balanced logo. The NY is there without being like in your face. I think the play of the two different, like of the sound and the C thing, is spectacular, and really more what I look. Is it the Riveters? No, I would much prefer the return of the Riveters, but I think this is one of the better ones. As far as the logo is generic-ish, but it still feels New York. It still feels it's adjacent to the Islanders. Like honestly, you could Fisherman logo that and say it's a sound wave and it would work. Like it's those colors.
It is, but you could also slap this on a pro beach hockey jersey and people like, oh yeah, Sirens versus Salsa this afternoon. If you guys want to go out to the game, like it's.
Yeah, I look, I really like that the double meaning with the mythological creature. Like I really
Yep.
think that's what does it. And the fact that they're in the same way that the Kraken never show other than a tentacle and an eye, I feel it's kind of the same thing. And I wonder if they'll embrace that in time.
Or if it shows up in some sort of mascot, or if this ends up as a shoulder patch and they lean into like this haggard old,
Well,
for
I don't
lack
know
of a
that they
better
were
term,
haggard.
screw.
I think they were supposed to be like beautiful people trying to lure you in. Phil, you look like you have thoughts on this.
No, it's, I believe it's
Or you're taking our
they
therapy.
were
I'm not sure.
lowering the men to their deaths, so I believe they were supposed to be beauty, and then
Like,
Very good then.
which maybe that's offensive now, and I don't know it. But unless
You
it's
don't know
that,
it yet. Somebody will tell you.
someone will tell me.
you look.
Unless it like I love this idea, and if it's on a navy jersey with accents in those colors, I'm fully in. Like this is among my favorite looks.
I'll give you that. The color scheme could make or break this, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that if you show up with that cool gold striping around the side, or accent colors, I think you've got something there. I think
I
it's
think it's more orange. I don't know if it's coming through on your end, but it looks orange to me.
okay.
Next, I hate this one. The Ottawa Charge.
The Ottawa Cavaliers.
That's another low overlap. Charge pays tribute to Ottawa itself from the city's motto, Advance Ottawa en avant. En avant? I don't do French. Nodding to its constant state of dynamic growth and forward progress as Canada's capital city, the logo leading with the team's core color red features a monogram O designed to convey a sense of energy and movement, signifying the team's electrifying presence on the ice. The O is crafted to resemble a spinning object brimming with electrical current, representing the power that the fans bring to every game. Spikes radiating from the back of the O symbol emphasize forward momentum in the spirit of the city. A faceted cut in the front of the O introduces a slight nod to the letter C, linking the design back to the team's name, Charge.
Go ahead, then I'll go.
I mean, other than like you in trying to work to a joke, I came to a better one of this is Parliament and their spending habits. Ah, yes, charge it. That's fine. We'll just keep adding. You just charge more to the national economy. That's fine. More taxes. Charge us more taxes, Ottawa. How about it? How you doing up there in Parliament, eh? Like, come on, bud. Now, honestly, this you said the Cleveland Cavaliers. I didn't see that until now, but you're right. It looks like the Calgary Flames to me.
Does.
Way too much like the Calgary Flames. Like everything about it. Is it a bear claw? Someone else said like it looks like a bear claw.
Kind of.
Who and so at work I showed this to one of my women hockey players, and she goes, "Why isn't there something electrical in it? You make that a lightning bolt. You make that zapping something. Like now you got something interesting."
There is a lightning bolt, that yellow and white in the bottom.
I don't believe that was listed in my
but I believe that's a type of electrical current on the bottom of that.
That's a faceted cut, Phil, according to the PWHL website.
Well, there's a cut to make a C, but jagged there.
Faceted cut. Faceted.
This is one of those things where they got late in the game and didn't have anything, and they're like, Charge, boom, done. Here's this Cavaliers logo.
In Canada's capital, with how much history and all of this emphasis, I mean, this is the country that changed from an all thy sons command to an all of us command. This is the best you have. This is my worst. This is below the Frost. Frost at least is
the worst one. The Frost was a safe play. This is not a safe play. This reminds me of the Islanders when they released their first reverse retro and they forgot to do the assignment and just like slapped an old, like just put a jersey that most people thought didn't exist and when it actually did, and they didn't do the assignment. And I feel much the same about this one.
Whoever was in the Minnesota front office when the naming came around, and they said, you know what it'll be? Go Wild. Ah! They got the same person, and so every time they're going to root for the team, Charge. See?
Yeah, yeah.
It's brutal. This is genuinely brutal. I absolutely hate this name. I absolutely hate it. And logo.
Yeah.
The logo's just as bad.
Yeah,
They
you're
went
mixing
electrical. Maybe.
you're mixing a lot of things. What's the tower in Ottawa?
Peace Tower.
East Tower. I don't know. The Senators never leaned into that like they could have.
No, one
It's
shoulder
up for
patch.
grabs. It's up for grabs. You could have done something cool. I'm not necessarily saying like the Ottawa Peacekeepers or something like that, but
It's a fun name. It's actually a better name than I think you thought it was. It's a bit long, but like it works.
Or the Crease Keepers. Like, come on,
Oh.
now we're talking.
Yeah, I'd like lean into Canadiana. You know, if Montreal's is going to be like we're French, Victoire, like you're telling me that Ottawa can't be like the Canadian team,
The Ottawa Not Canadians.
right? Canadians, not Canadians, Canadians.
Canadians. All right,
Like
one more.
one more.
One more.
Toronto Scepters. The Scepters embody Toronto's regal history and commanding presence, reflected in the moniker Queen City and iconic places like Queen Street, one of the city's most culturally vibrant thoroughfares, connecting diverse neighborhoods and showcasing Toronto's rich heritage. The ornamented scepter itself is a symbol of power and strength found in courts and palaces. Today, it will be wielded on the ice by Toronto's hockey royalty. The color palette centers around a rich royal blue. The emblem combines the initials T and S to represent Toronto Scepters, and the addition of a scepter motif to evoke power, reflecting the team's identity and spirit. The beveled edges add a sense of depth and solidarity, enhancing its regal quality, imbuing it with a tangible, prestigious feel, evoking the team's name and image.
They named it after a street.
That wasn't Yonge Street.
Yeah.
Eaton Center, the Eatons.
I don't get it as much as the other ones. Like this seems like a stretch for me.
It is a stretch because you know I bet there was thoughts of Queens and Monarchs. Monarchs has already been thrown around the minor leagues a lot.
Sure.
So maybe the trademarks weren't there. Queens, between the borough in New York, borough town, I don't know. And maybe there's other thoughts of like misusing the word or just, oh, we trademark a word that a group has adopted so much, kind of like when someone tried to trademark Hun in Baltimore, like it's just going to end poorly. So they went the royalty route. They wanted to be hockey royalty, and they went a couple steps out. And you know, I think it'll grow on us.
Perhaps I would have loved to have seen them try to incorporate the CN Tower into that scepter and really kind of like they did with Seattle's anchor, where you have the
Yeah.
What is it?
The Space Needle.
Space Needle. Thank you.
Yeah.
There were opportunities here to make this something cool, and I think they missed that opportunity.
The T with the flame is a decent scepter, and it's almost like if it were a sword, but that doesn't make sense for it. Like you know, the T, you can get something sword based really easily, and they whiffed on that. I don't like the S does kind of flesh it out a bit, so it's not a lot of empty space. It's okay. It's better than Frost. It's way better than Charge.
Yeah, it's middle of the pack.
But yeah, it's a mid-pack logo. With a mid-pack name.
It's jumbled there, and like when the T and the S, like it gets too complicated in there. It looks messy.
But I mean, it almost looks like a dollar sign, which for better or for worse, at least that's a recognizable symbol that everyone knows works.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like
I think just a T wouldn't do it.
No, all I can think of is like the arenas or the arenas that you couldn't
Yeah.
see, but just the T of the Toronto.
They wanted to fill the space slightly better, and I feel they did that.
Yeah, I would love to see if they can get away with like an all gold jersey. Like that would
Ooh, that'd be
be
fun.
that I'm holding out hope that these translate well to an actual sweater, and we can do a follow up on one of these once
Oh, 100%.
those actually release. But I don't know. I think we let off with the best one. Um, I think Boston got it like without being too corny. Like you're it's a good historical name for a good historical town.
Phil, what are your thoughts? You haven't said much.
No, I haven't. I mean, there's nothing really, none of them are really popping out at me. Boston, I feel makes a lot more sense with the area, stuff like that. I don't like Toronto's at all. I'm sorry. Just it
Yeah.
doesn't for me. Just New York, I don't like New York's whatsoever.
New York's the biggest wild card of the bunch because you could lean into that color scheme really, really well, or it's going to end really, really poorly for that team.
Yeah, like it really just depends the rest of it. I'm curious what Montreal's gonna look like jersey wise. That one I'm kind of excited. I'm curious what that one's gonna do.
You know what? There was a PS1 game called NHL Rock the Rink. It was a rival to NHL Hits that never took off. And I think the New York Cabbies was a team, and like that's kind of what it's very similar. I can't find a logo right now, but someone feel free to like it feels very New York Cabbies.
Kind of like it
Maybe it was
might,
just a checkerboard at the top of the slide. I don't know.
could be.
But
I don't know.
So I was told that like when you have like the Minnesota Wild in the league, in the NHL, and then you look at these and it's just kind of like, oh, kind of looks kind of rushed, looks kind of phoned in. I don't think it's that bad. I like half of these. I hate one or two, but I like half of them.
Yeah, four of them hit. Four of them are going to be fine. It's what they do with New York and how they market Ottawa. I think are going to be the big question marks that I'd like to see play out.
So
But overall, like good on them for taking a year, not rushing into it, and doing their fans justice. I mean, now you have to worry about the branding. Like, what is it going to look like on ice? And I don't know. I caught wind that they were supposed to move up the season to November this year instead of starting in January. But you're going to have to roll out a look here in the next month to see that come to fruition. I can't find a schedule anywhere. Just some Reddit posts about November being the new start date for the league. So TBD on that.
and we'll come back whenever we have those looks, and I'm sure we'll talk about it just as long. So I guess that's going to wrap it up for us. Any final thoughts?
How long was this? 35 minutes?
Yeah, we
Running out of
talked.
time. Running out of time.
Who in their right mind is going to watch this?
With the dogged faithful and PWHL fans, I hope.
Fan for us.
Hey,
For
hey,
us. For
hey.
us.
Oh, our fans. Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
there's
fair.
a couple more for PWH.
Those bots are really making us work for those comments. So
All right. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up for us. He's Shrems. I'm John. Phil, take us out.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Ring the bell to get notified when we post new videos. New season coming up here of the hockey. So a bunch of stuff coming out. So stay tuned and tune in for another episode of Ugly Thirds.
Wait, am I